Well guys, I could not have picked a worse day to do this. It is hotter than hell out here today. It's muggy, it rained last night, it's trying to rain again, so today's probably not the best day to do a little glamour shoot like I did, but initially it turned into today. I wanted to get my deer down and dust them off and clean them up and put them back up, and I thought I've never taken one of these pictures of some of my best, and I just wanted to get a good picture of them. I don't think I'm a hero, I don't think I'm a great hunter. I think I've had a lot of success being lucky and time spent in the woods, and so therefore I just kind of wanted to go over each deer and kind of say when they were killed, how they were killed, the weapon they were killed with, and kind of how much they mean to me. So without further ado, let's kind of get into them. Okay, so you guys are gonna have to forgive me. The sun keeps going in and out, and it's making the lighting just absolutely awful. My other camera is officially dead, so I had to jump over to my phone. I'm also glistening, so forgive that. Thank God you can't smell me through the TV. But I'm gonna start, like I said, with probably the least sentimental to the most sentimental. Not that any of these deer are unappreciated, it's just some of them mean a little bit more to me. But without further ado, we're gonna start with this one right here. This is a 9-point that I killed on my private property after chasing him for a 3-week period. I think it's the first time he showed up. This hunt is actually on YouTube. I shot him with a 30-06, Old Faithful, but he is not my most prized possession. As you can tell, the taxidermy on him was absolutely horrendous. So if you're going to pay for a cheap taxidermy, Bill, you better be ready for the results. This thing looks like crap. He looks like a doe mounted on it looks like a doe form with antlers. Nonetheless, he's a 143.5-inch deer. Really cool deer, and one of my biggest deer to date when I did kill him. So super tickled with him, even though he kind of looks like crap. Moving on right here, we got this buck that's in full sneak mount. It's probably one of my best taxidermy jobs that I had done. Velma Smith did this deer. He looks a lot bigger than he is. You can see he's got this really cool forked G2. He's got a forked G3 on this side and this really neat little kind of like kicker thing right there. But this deer was also killed on that same property as that deer. I knew about that buck. I did not know about this deer. That deer, I forgot to mention, the first deer was 2018. This one was, I think, 2012 is when I killed this buck right here. But I call him Loverboy because it took me hours to catch up with him. He was chasing a doe when I finally got in position on the ground to get a shot at this buck, and I couldn't be more happy with him. He is a 136.5-inch deer. I think he's only like 10.5 inches wide, so not a really wide deer, but he's got the genetics to make a giant one day. Unfortunately, because he met me first, that will never happen. So moving on, we've got my 2018 LBL buck. I'm sure if you follow my channel, you've probably seen or heard of this deer. I killed him, I think, 7 days after I killed the 9-point. I killed this one with my bow on public land. It was my first real big buck that I killed on public land. He's a 153-inch deer. He's a 12-point. He also was done by the same guy, and as you can tell, he looks like dog crap, and I have learned my lesson completely, and I really need to get him and the other buck redone, but that's on a kind of to-do list that I don't know if I'm ever going to really get to. This boy right here, you can see this beautiful 10-point in velvet. This was actually my second buck ever with a bow. This is 2011. He is a 156-inch, almost nearly perfect buck. He has 1 inch of deductions throughout his entire rack. I shot him on opening day in Kentucky, like I said, in 2011. Ended up hitting this buck about midway back, clipped liver, got all gut. Other than that, I shot him with a rage. It took 3 days to find him. He ran into a not a clear cut, but a select cut, super thick, treetops everywhere, and I was within like 7 or 8 yards of this buck multiple times. And you can actually see, you're going to get my ugly backyard in the background. You can see maybe right here on the back of his rack, he is missing his velvet where he actually laid on that side until I found him. There's a funny picture somewhere. I'll see if I can find it, but he stayed in a deep freeze until I could find a cape for him, and when I finally got him out and cut his skull cap off, it was probably one of the worst smells that I've ever encountered, for sure. Okay, so funny story. I've taken a couple pictures already, And I got to talking about this buck a minute ago, which you're not going to see that part because in the midst of it, I remembered I had one more mount inside, and he was in my stepson's room. So this is probably the next one in line, I would say, memory-wise. This is a pretty cool little buck. Man, in pictures, you can see from side profile, he looks pretty dang nice, and he's not a bad deer. He does not break the 140 mark. He's right there at 139. I had people messaging me and asking if the deer hit 170. I was like, no. But this is my Thanksgiving Day buck. You guys may remember this video on YouTube. I shot this buck with my bow. I got super emotional in the tree because it was one of the first deer that I killed after my granddad passed. But really cool deer. My stepson loves this buck, so I let him keep it in his room. So now let's keep moving on to my 2021 late season muzzleloader buck, which is right here. Like I said, killed with the muzzleloader, and this buck is pretty special to me because of bringing him out in the kayak. I also chased this buck on Kentucky Public all season long, and finally caught up with him. He's a really neat buck. He's a fighter. You can see he's still got all the cedar rubbings in his antlers here. He's got the super tall brows. He's got the mass. He carries it out really well. This buck actually almost sank the kayak. So cool buck, definitely up towards the top of my list. This one right here is the buck that started it all for me, as you can see. This is my 2021 bow buck in Indiana. Killed him during Indiana's gun season. He's a really cool little nine. He's technically a 10 point. This counts as a point, but you can see it's broke off. He come running into a call, so I called this buck in. It's always a lot more fun when you can do that. But both these deer right here come from 2021. This one was 146, and this one right here, it was actually like 144-inch deer. But this was the one, this was the buck that set it all off for me. First buck paddle out on the kayak, and he means a lot. But as you guys know, I cheated, went to Tennessee, I used my rifle, and I killed this buck right here. This is my 2022 Tennessee early season buck. He means a lot to me. He was not nearly as an accomplished of a kill because I did shoot him with a rifle at about 80 yards, but this buck was the first deer that I killed 2 weeks after my granddad passed. He probably means the most to me just because of that sentimental value. That was a really hard time in my life. I was really finding a way to find joy in life, and this deer right here was without a doubt sent to me from above, and he is definitely my favorite mount. He's gorgeous. You can see the looks like it's actually Bondo that Stephen Smith down in Tennessee did by hand. You got the rope that goes around. Beautiful mount, beautiful deer. It's my best scoring deer. That is not the reason though that he's as special as he is. If he scored 120, he still would have been probably my most memorable deer just because of the time that he come in my life. But anyways, guys, just a quick little video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, and if you want to see any of these hunts, this deer is on YouTube. This deer, not that one, not you, and all of these hunts can be found on the DL3 YouTube channel. So appreciate you guys taking a minute to watch and hear these stories. Really fun hunts, really like memorable deer, and I'm hoping to add to this with any luck.